I'm only speaking to benevolent beings. I hope that you all are managing to stay strong. So, in this recording, what I'm going to speak on is the frequency fuckery and how it is that their method of what it is that they're trying to force. So they're trying to rape high frequencies and vibrations. So the person, let's just say a being experiences spiritual growth, they have an epiphany, what have you. They experience those high frequencies of vibrations. Then they use the technology and the clones to rape those. Once they've done that, then what they do is they start in on their campaigns, right? The gang stalking, street theater, the organized community stalking, the fuckery, the frequency, the directed energy weaponry, the voice to skull. So they use those things to then try and bring the being back down. That also is their way of trying to feed. So they rape and then they try to feed. And then they try to do this, they try to do that, consistently to try and wear the being down. Again, I have a very strong feeling that they have hijacked some of the higher dimensions. I think that they are using what they've raped to try and access those higher dimensions. Because that parasitic species has been here for this long and has been operating in this fashion for that long, just take a look around at the planet and at the beings here and how fucked up this place is. The reincarnation, the recycling program. And that's their way of trying to fracture and fragment beings over civilizations, timelines, lifetimes. So what I'm saying is they've been doing this a long time. And if they're doing that here for this long, most likely they're doing it elsewhere, outside of here. If they have hijacked higher dimensions, that would also make sense as to why there has not been true benevolent intervention. Now, I'm not saying I get the feeling that all of them have been hijacked, but I would think at some point when you have a stronghold, right, and you're trying to prevent or defend against attack, at some point you cut off the outside, right? You cut off whatever's outside of the stronghold to try and protect the stronghold. So I'm not saying that that's what has happened here, but I'm saying I can see that being a possibility with what I know to be true of what this species has been doing here, how long they've been doing it, the methods that they use, and all of that. Now, that's just a possibility. You would have to maybe sit with that and contemplate that to and feel what you receive in your heart and your intuition to see if there's if you can glean more, right? If you can glean more truth, if you can maybe see it with your abilities to try and, when you focus your attention and intention on something, you are accessing Like you have that's a way to better understand or understand something. So you'll have to sit with that and check, look with your abilities and feel with your heart to see if there's any truth to that. Just by looking around at this planet and the lack of true benevolent intervention coming from outside of here, I think this universe is fucked. I think this species, along with most likely other parasitic species that operate in the same fashion, clearly they've been doing this a long time here. So if you just extrapolate, right, and you try and see further out and look at the bigger picture of that and the implications and the ramifications of that, then you can, look further out and get a bigger picture. So as they've been forcing that here, humanity could have evolved long ago. I hope that you can see that. I hope that you can know that. Humanity could have evolved, most likely eons ago, had there not been a parasitic species using technology to rape beings, trying to rape beings of their inherent stuff. Now, the other part of this is your refusal of consent. So they try to ignore that. The way they're coming at this is they're trying to, because this has to do with the frequency fence. The fence is what pumps out the lies, cons, and deceit overlay over the organic energetic field to obstruct beings here from picking up the actual true frequencies and vibrations and resonances of the universe itself. Also, I'm sure they're trying to, I've heard of sun simulators. So whether, if that's something that you believe that they're doing, they're trying to obstruct true information and the truths coming from the light and energy of the sun. Now, there's a caveat there that my personal experiences in communications with the sun were very disappointing and fucking disturbing. Because planets and stars are also in the past, they have been sentient beings. They are, if they aren't corrupt and complicit, they are beings in their own right. So there is, should be, information, energy, and truths coming from the sun's light and energies. So if they are using sun simulators, it's just one more way that they're trying to obstruct the beings here from evolving and from receiving the truth of things. So back to your refusal of consent. My apologies for I got off on another little tangent there. Because at some point they have to turn off the fence. What they're trying to do, they're coming at this basically they're trying to wear down and force beings here. They're trying to force beings here to believe the lie, con, and deceit overlay of what they're pumping out, while they're trying to rape whatever high frequencies and vibrations are manifesting or being experienced here. So they do ignore refusal of consent up to a certain point. If you have the ability to, if you have the intention and the drive and the wherewithal to be moving things to universal laws and directly, are trying to directly connect with universal laws, like, they still get nailed. But once again, they're using some kind of technology, the regression technology, and possibly time travel technology to regress. They've also been doing that to humanity, using regression technologies. I really hope that you can see how they've been running this shit show and how they have been trying to rape humanity in every, I'll just say in the past, they've been trying to rape humanity of their evolution. While, and if it is true, that they've hijacked higher dimensions, that they're possibly that they might be accessing, I'll just say, dimensions and realities that they should not be with things that they've raped. So with refusal of consent, it's still extremely vital that that is done, especially in combination with the knowledge that a being knows the truth of things, knows that they are in violation of all universal laws, knows that they are using technology to forcibly interfere and obstruct true universal law manifested correction here. That they are using technology to try and forcibly regress humanity. And that they're, with all their fuckery, they're using technology and clones to try and do all their fuckery, to try and rape, in addition to trying to feed. They're trying to eliminate beings who know the truth of things, that can stand in contradiction to their lies, cons, and deceit, and their fuckery, and in the presence of full universal laws. Because at some point they do have to turn off the fence. It's like I've said in prior recordings, there's like some kind of a time element here. That they're trying to get everybody to believe the lie, believe the lies, while they try and rape. Because they're trying to eliminate beings knowing the truth of things. So continuing to refuse consent for what they force, for what they're trying to rape. Knowing that they are in violation of all universal laws, that in no way are they justified in trying to do any of it, trying to force any of it. They are in no way justified. These are creatures, at this point, you should be, even if you haven't had any direct contact with those creatures, they operate in between now, below surface. Like, I think originally they were fourth dimensional entities. But because of their continuous devolution, that for many of them, it's harder to stay in the fourth dimension. So they often operate in between third and fourth dimension. So they could, for example, they could be in your physical reality, but still invisible to the human eyes. So more so kind of like a ghost, like a being might feel them, be able to feel their presence in their physical three-dimensional reality, might even experience them moving things or trying to touch, or, you know, I'll just say that a being can feel them, but just can't visually see, see them, unless they're some of their other higher faculties are active. So even if you haven't had any contact with, I'm sorry, I'm trying to, I kind of trying to remember the specific point I was trying to make there. I'm sorry, just a moment. Just knowing that your refusal of consent does stand. Universal laws are real because of the, not because, we know this because of the lengths that they go to try and obstruct and circumvent them. And that they're trying to eliminate beings who know the truth of things. Breathing, walking evidence. So even though they try to ignore refusal of consent, it's a time thing. They're trying to wear down beings before they have to turn off the fence. That's why it's extremely important to always be remembering and recalling what you know to be the truth of things, doing your best to be holding those frequencies and vibrations, continuing to refuse consent, knowing that because they're trying to wear down, you have to be vigilant and determined and tenacious when it comes to, well, just in general, but also operating out of your true frequencies. And knowing that they are trying to force things, trying to convince you that what they're that whatever it is that they're trying to force is accurate, and it's not. It's not. These are creatures. Everything that comes out of them, whatever it is that they're trying to use to harm, to force, or whatever, is lies, cons, and deceit. You're not dealing with a being. You're dealing with a creature. It doesn't possess empathy or compassion or any of that. It will try to use those things, but those are things that it has, if it does, it has raped those things from a true benevolent being. It does not have any ability or capacity to be feeling those things. What it tries to do is to wear those frequencies via technology. So I've been trying to kind of connect all these little points here. Your refusal of consent is vital because you know of the fuckery. You know they're in violation of all universal laws and that they're using tech to do it. You know, especially a being that has never submitted to them, then that being knows that they've never submitted, knows that they continue to refuse consent, knows of the fuckery, knows that they are completely unjustified, that they're completely in the wrong, and that they know that even though they use the technology to try and rape frequencies and energies, that they still can't steal them. Because of the being's refusal of consent. That's the thing. One of the other very important things, if you're one who is being attacked and you've never submitted, I'm going to word it a little differently for the example. So let's say a being is being attacked by them. They've never submitted. They continue to refuse consent. These entities will try and wear down that being. They will try to force lies, cons, and deceptions. They will try to, sometimes they try to actually take actions to try and convince the being that they've stolen their stuff. They've raped it. Like what it is they've raped the frequencies and vibrations, but as long as that being continues to refuse consent and has not submitted, then that being will always be able to, recall and pull back what has been raped from them. More simply, don't believe their lies. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to wear down, and they're trying to get beings to believe their fuckery. That's why it's so important to try and operate as much as you can out of your true, authentic frequencies and vibrations. overriding their lies, cons, and deceit frequencies. Be in knowing of who you truly are. Be in knowing that you've never, that being, back to the example, that being would have to, would be in knowing that they've never submitted, that they continue to refuse consent, that that being doesn't believe the lies, cons, and deceptions, knows the truth of things, knows their own being, and continues to pull back what has been raped from them, because of the times that we're in, the time that we're in, and the severity of what's being forced, the practices of pulling back what has been raped from the malevolence, the clones, the technologies, has to be daily, has to be a daily practice. It has to be done often in a day. If you are one who has decided that you are not going to submit and that you are going to fight and take back what's been raped from you, unfortunately, this has to be, those practices have to be done daily and often. They are also coming at this. I'm sorry, just a moment. They are coming at this as if it were a competition. It's not a fucking competition. In no way, nor has it ever been. It's not a fucking, anyways, moving forward. They're trying to rape inherent parts of beings. They're trying to obstruct evolution. They're trying to circumvent universal laws. They're trying to rape humanity of their evolution. There should have been true benevolent intervention already. So clearly, things outside of this place are extremely fucked up. Things have gone awry. So whether there's a some kind of an intelligence or awareness or energy, and those are used loosely and in quotes, running and operating this universe, or it's just a massive place in where beings emerge. There is still present a parasitic infection. That tries to seek out and rape benevolent life force energy to try and sustain their stay in a universe, in realities that they shouldn't be in because they are parasites. So with all of my, my prior recordings, I'm going to rephrase, with my prior recordings, and if there are true benevolent beings who have listened to some of my recordings, or quite a few, hopefully by now you have a better understanding of what's been occurring in this place, and also on a bigger scale. All of this universe, as well as this planet, this place, there must be correction. The percentage of malevolence is not supposed to be more than the percentage of benevolence. There should be balance. So if the scale is tipped, and isn't corrected, meaning if there's a point where the malevolence is more, the percentage of malevolence is more than the percentage of benevolence, and it isn't corrected, like if you were to extrapolate, can you see how things would start to break down? Fall apart. So, how I've seen this, I'll just say that because of the lack of balance, at the very least, in this place, and there hasn't yet been correction, things start to happen, and those things aren't pretty, right? They're not warm and fuzzy, and they're not pretty, because there is a time element. And because at some point they do have to shut off that fence. What it is So because of the percentage of beings here screaming, and that raises by the day, because they still are trying to force what they're trying to force. So at some point, they have to shut off the fence, or they risk triggering universal law correction. And if they don't, shut off the fence, they risk the percentage of beings realizing the truth of things. On some level of their being grows by the day, because they're still trying to force what they're trying to force. So can you see where that's at? So they're trying to get everybody, they're really trying to get beings to believe the lies. It is a frequency overlay. It's so extremely important to remember that what they're pumping out via technology in the artificial frequency fence is an overlay. It's an overlay of lies, cons, and deceit. It's inaccurate, false. So it's wise to be doing your best to try and access the true organic energetic field. Just a moment. My apologies. There's quite a bit of forced interference being forced right now. So hopefully I'm going to try and wrap this up. Hopefully you can see and better understand where things are at. To better help you navigate your way and operate in this place. And my apologies, there is quite a bit of interference. So hopefully the bigger picture is evident. What this species is trying to force here, and how they operate, and what they're doing and how they're doing it. and that your refusal of consent is vital. Constantly, consistently, and persistently doing your best to operate out of your true, authentic frequencies and vibrations. Overriding their lies, cons, and deceit frequencies. Knowing that they will, knowing that as long as you have not submitted, that whatever's coming out of their vomit hole, they do not have any right and are not justified in trying to rape anything from you. And I'm only speaking to benevolent beings. That this is that knowing that they're coming at this as if it were some kind of a competition. It's not a competition. Benevolent being's inherent stuff is a benevolent being's inherent stuff. It's part of their being. So no, this is not a competition. Parasites are not justified in any way, shape, or form to try and be raping anything from benevolent beings. That stuff is not theirs. What they're trying to do is trying to sustain their stay in a place that they should not be. And they are trying to access and knowing that possibly they're trying to access higher dimensions with the things that they have raped, which that is also obviously not allowed. So as long as the benevolent being knows that they have not submitted, that they will be able to pull back anything that's been raped from them. And to know that whatever the entities are, whatever lies, cons, and deceptions are coming out of their vomit hole, that those are inaccurate, those are false, and to always work at overriding the lies, those frequencies of their lies, cons, and deceit, and doing one's best to try and find things that helps them to stay in higher frequencies, to elevate the mood. What I'm saying is that benevolent beings at this time have to be their own source of, unless they can have, unless they are able to fully or directly connect to the true organic energetic field. And through that they're able to access the organic field through the artificial overlay. But if that's a challenge, then benevolent beings have to be their own source of positive emotions and thoughts at this time. So even though if a benevolent being is, if there are things, if there are nasty emotions and lower frequencies being forced on a benevolent being, because they know the truth of things, they then have to create their own positive emotions, their own positive thoughts, to override their bullshit, to override their fuckery. So at that point, it becomes vital to know the truth of things, to know your own being, to know your own frequencies and vibrations, to know that they are totally, that these are creatures, that they are totally unjustified, that they have no business trying to force connection to the benevolent being, to try and forcibly rape anything. They don't have any, they're not justified in any way, shape, or form to try and rape anything from the benevolent being. Because they're creatures, they're in violation of all universal laws. They shouldn't be here. So those are some of the points that I wanted to make. And hopefully the bigger picture of things is more evident and more clear. To try and assist so that benevolent beings are better able to remain strong and to navigate this place, and to know how to operate in this place, and what the things that they need to do that. And it's like one of my ongoing questions is, how did this universe get to this point? Like, there should not be that percentage of malevolence in the universe or in this place. It's very concerning, and it is one of the bigger reasons for my personal, for my perception that benevolent beings do not belong in this place, and that we have to be doing what we can to leave this place, because of how corrupt and compromised it's become. There must be correction. And when that fence has to be turned off, hopefully there are benevolent beings knowing the truth of things to stand in contradiction to their lies, cons, and deceit, and to challenge what they have tried to force here and tried to do here. So benevolent beings need to always know that their inherent frequencies and vibrations and resonances, light, sounds, energies are theirs, that they do not belong to any fucking creature, any entity, at any time for any reason. And those creatures, no parasite, no demon has any right to be trying to rape or access benevolent beings. So do your best to operate out of the highest frequency and vibration that you can. And continue to refuse consent. Continue to pull back what has been, I'm only speaking to benevolent beings, to continue to pull back what has been raped from you, from all technologies, clones, parasites, including pulling anything raped out of all forced magic. Unfortunately, that has to be addressed. And be constantly referring to and recalling the truth of things, what you know to be the truth of things, the truth of your being. And as much as you can, be operating out of the truth frequencies, out of your, your true frequencies and vibrations, and to be knowing the truth of things. Knowing that there must be correction, or all this is, this whole universe is going to go south. There must be correction. There must be. And there is a time element. And just know that they do have to shut off the fence at some point, or they risk triggering universal laws fully enforced all at once. And if they don't do that, then they risk more beings here realizing the truth of things, which will also trigger universal laws. The more when there is a larger quantity. So there has to be more of us realizing the truth of things. We have to be able to trigger universal law enforcement here, or terminate the artificial frequency fence. That's where that's at. And extremely high frequencies and vibrations will terminate the artificial frequency fence. However, they're trying to control what goes out and what comes in through the artificial frequency fence via clones and via technologies. And is another reason why they try to rape high frequencies and vibrations, because they're trying to control what reaches outside of here. Do you see? Okay, so I'm my apologies for the lack of flow in this recording. There is forced interference, and I'm doing my best to deal with that as I'm trying to communicate and relay things. And continue to do the best that you can. And always be in knowing of the truth of things and operating out of your authentic frequencies and vibrations. And continuing to refuse consent and continuing to pull back what has been raped from you, or anything that has been raped from you. Back or out of all forced magic, clones, technologies, and all malevolence, devoid of all harm to you. All right, I'll wrap this up, and until next time.